Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Nadia and today I am going to make Miss Maggie's handbag, which is a pattern from Emmeline's bags online, a website. It's free pattern, so you can download it, register your email, and they're gonna send it to you. There are 4 versions of this bag and I picked version number 3, which includes hardware strap anchors. It's called Long John and it could be purchased also on that Emmeline website. So let's just start it. First I print out the instructions from Emmeline's bag website. You can go through them as we go along. About half a yard exterior fabric, the vinyl I'm gonna use. We are going to use half a yard or half a meter lining fabric. We're also going to need some interfacing if you're gonna use a cotton, or even actually I'm gonna interface vinyl also. I'm gonna explain. We are going to need interfacing, which is Pellan SF. I'm going to use Pellan SF 101. It's a woven interfacing. We are also going to use, you're going to need some heavy interfacing or stabilizer for the bottom of the purse, which could be Pellan Peltex. This is very heavy, thick interfacing, or Pellan Flex Foam, which looks like this. Now we are also going to need some hardware. We're going to need some hardware. It's a magnetic snap, which I have here. I have a magnetic snap rivet, but it just could be regular magnetic snap. You're gonna need some purse feet, 4 of them. We are going to need some rivets, and we are also going to need some snaps. Besides all of this, we are going to use that strap anchor, which is the Long John. What I'm going to use, as I mentioned before, I purchased from Emmeline's bag. Well, I don't have it right on my hand, but as we go along, I'm gonna get it. So let's just start. So I cut up the pieces because the version I picked has a seam in the middle of the bag, so I had to cut 4 main pieces. It's 8 3/8 times 14 inches, or it's 21.1 centimeters by 21.6 centimeters. You cut 4 of them. This is a vinyl, as I mentioned, but because it has a fleece bag and I feel it's a little stretchy, I just want to make sure all is well, so I'm gonna interface it with the Pellan SF 101, also 4 pieces. I cut up 2 stripes, the handles, which are 4 inches by 20 inches wide, and I also gonna interface them. But so same thing, 2 and 2. I am gonna I also prepared a lining. Lining size is 16 inches wide by 10.5 inches tall, and I also gonna use interfacing, the same one, Pellan SF 101. I also cut up a packet. The pattern says simple packet. You can do whichever packet you want, it's all up to you. I'm gonna just follow the instructions. I cut up 10 by 10 inches lining. Okay, I just have a one suggestion. As you're going to be interfacing, if you're going to be using a vinyl, as I do, I interface it, just put the heat a little lower than you would normally use, because otherwise the kind of plasticky top from the vinyl would come off and it's going to be even more stretchy. So do not use such a high heat, and do not use heat press, because it would destroy it completely. As one smart and funny lady from Fierce Kittens channel suggested, and she's very funny. You should definitely go and see her channel. You're also going to need the heavy duty interfacing for the bottom. It's 3.5 inches by 12, 3.5 by 12 inches, or 9 centimeters by 30.5 centimeters. And I think I said, or you're gonna need the foam stabilizer, so you're gonna need both of them. And the foam stabilizer is 17 inches tall by 26 inches wide, or 43 centimeters tall by 66 centimeters. 66 centimeters. Okay, so now we are gonna make the straps. So we're gonna measure, we find the middle of the strap, which is 2 inches. So it's 1, 2, right here, 1, 2, make a line. Now we are going to use a double-side tape to help to hold it together, because we cannot use pins. Because it's a vinyl, you would see all the holes in there. So once the hole in the vinyl is done, it's there forever. So we put the double-side tape. Just on the pieces would be interfaced, because we're going to be stitching on the other sides and on the sides too. If you are not using a vinyl, you can do these sides first, press it on each side, and then fold it. But we are using a vinyl, so we're not going to do that, because it's going to be, the seam would be so thick. We don't need to do it. We can paint it at the end with a letter paint if you have it. So you're going to kind of stick the side on the double side edge right toward the middle, and we will do the same thing on the other side. So this double side tape helps us to keep it together. And so turn it and do the same thing on this side. If you're using a cotton, like I mentioned before, you do the sides first, but you can use pins or clips or whatever works for you. Just for the vinyl and leather, I would not recommend it. Okay, almost there. So now we're gonna straighten it up and push it toward each other and clip it all together, the sides together, like I did with the other ones, with the other one. Clip it together, and we're gonna top stitch on both sides, like 3/8 millimeters on each side. Also, I did not mention, since I am using a vinyl, you would have to use either Teflon foot or walking foot, which I am using, because a regular foot would get actually stuck on the vinyl. So I finished straps. Since we're not backing up, I left long thread. We're not backing up from the beginning nor in the end. So I left long thread, and we're gonna make a couple knots just to stop and make sure everything is okay, it doesn't fall apart in each one. Okay, just cut it, and I am using nylon thread, so I'm gonna use a lighter, kind of just briefly go over it, just make sure the ends are not opening up. Okay, let me just cut this more. Okay, we did both sides. So once this is done, so now we're gonna put together the main body. I will take 2 of those. We have 4 together, 4 parts. So we put 2 together facing the right sides together and sew it with 1 centimeter, 3/8 of inches together. Okay, so I stitched those 2 parts together, did all 4 of them 2 and 2. What are we gonna do now? We're gonna open this up and kind of finger press it. And since this is vinyl, it doesn't really want to open. What I did with this one, it's still not fully open, but it works a little better. I used, I have this very thin double-sided tape. It's like a 3 millimeters, 2 millimeters, or like 1/8. So I top stitched both of the sides. Now we're gonna turn one of them and face them together. Just make sure the sides, the middle seams are together. Just clip them together, and we are going to measure. We're going to make a 2 by 2, 2 inches by 2 inches, which is like 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. This right between together. Okay, so I stitched these 2 together from the point to this point. Now we're going to cut out these squares on each side. Okay, so I top stitch both sides, and now we are going to install the foam stabilizers. The foam here. Okay, so I attached the foam. The way I did it, I used first this adhesive, temporary adhesive, to glue it to the foam, because I'm using a vinyl, or if you're using a leather, you do the same thing. I just adhere it to the foam. If you're using cotton, you can just use a pins to hold it together, and then you actually just baste the foam to the vinyl with 1/4 inch allowance or 6 millimeters right around the edge. What do? You're gonna leave like 1 inch from the corners, not unattached, and I'll show you later what we're gonna do with this. So we are going to cut the rest of the foam right close to the stitching. Okay, so the way to cut the foam, I found the easiest way to hold it a little bit open. Just be careful, don't cut into the seam. And just follow. Sometimes it just slides on it, but just be careful. Just follow the line. And at the ends, what did I do with the ends? I kind of cut up the corners. Okay, we are going to prepare the base. So we are going to attach this Pellan stiff interfacing. It's a 3.5 inches by 12 inches. So we are going to measure 2 inches from the sides toward the middle and 1/4 inch from the top to make a mark where those purse feet gonna be located. So I already prepared on this side, so I'm gonna do it here now. Okay, and at the same time we have to find the middle. Easy way, you're gonna either measure or just gonna fold it in the middle and find the mark, and same thing here. So we have to attach this base. What are we gonna do? We are actually first just make sure it's all looking good. It might be a little puffed up because of the foam, but do not get scared, all is fine. So we have to attach this. Either you're gonna use this adhesive, this glue, or we can use this double side tape. I'm gonna use the double side tape this time. Okay, so we're gonna put a double side tape somewhere near the edges. Also, direction says if you would like more defined base, normally you should just base the sides right here, but if you like more defined base, you can sew rectangle all around. Okay, so I attached the base on those two sides. Now we are going to attach those purse feet. We need to make a holes, and each point would be made before. Normally I would use this kind of hole puncher, but this is not far, and it doesn't reach far enough all the way there, and I don't want to squash the fabric. So I am going to use this. This is kind of multifunctional press. It's purchased from Camp Snaps, and it could be used for grimmets, holes puncher, rivets, snaps. So you just change the attachment and work on whatever you need to do. So I'm gonna put this base on. So I put this base on, and this is kind of just a screw on it. Okay. So I'm gonna put this here, put it exactly, just measure, look on a point, and make a hole. Okay. All right, we can put this on the side. Now we're gonna flip it over. We're going to insert this purse feet in, and we have this washer. Just open it and put this washer on to hold it in place. And we do all four of them. All right, and around. Okay, so those press feet are installed, and now we have to attach the strap anchors. I am using the long johns. I don't have it at this moment, but it will continue as soon as I get them. Okay, while we work waiting for those strap anchors, we're gonna prepare lining. First, we have to make the slip pocket. So we'll take the one piece, which is 10 inches by 10 inches or 25 centimeters by 25 centimeters slip pocket. We're gonna put them together right side like this. Press it, finger press it, and we are going to stitch around these two sides, and on the bottom leave 3 inches opening, which is about 8 centimeters, and we're gonna sew it with 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters seam allowance. Just those two sides, and up to here, like leave like 3 inches or 8 centimeters opening right here. Okay, I sewn it together, all those corners. Now we're gonna cut up the corner here, both corners a little bit, just to be careful, don't cut into the seam. Okay, and now we're gonna flip it through this hole. Now we're gonna press it all the way here. And tap stitch 1 or 2 lines on the top of the pocket. So what are we gonna do now? We are going to find a middle and make the crease right here. And we're also going to find a middle of the one of the lining. Find the middle. Okay, make the crease. Measure 2 inches from top, and we're going to put the pocket. Okay, so sew all these 3 in a 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters seam allowance. Okay, before I attach the pocket, I forgot to put my name tag on. So I am going to probably put it somewhere in a corner here because we are going to make 2 pockets. Okay, so I sew in my tag, a little crooked, but it's okay. And now I can install the pocket. So again, we measure 2 inches from the top, fold it in half. I still have it. Fold this in half and put it right in the middle. And now we can attach it and sew it in. That's 3 sides. Pocket. And now, according to instructions, it says we're supposed to split it in half. So we'll find the middle. We actually still see the way I folded before, so I'm just going to draw a line right here, if you can see it. And you can just sew over it, just make it 2 slot pockets instead of 1. Now when the pocket is done, we are going to attach interior top facing, which I did not cut before, and I missed that. But what you're gonna do, you're gonna same fabric as the outside fabric, 16 by 3 inches, 2 cuts, and we are gonna interface it, which I already did, 15.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So interface it, and we are going to attach to the lining to it. So we're gonna face those 2 fabrics right sides together. We're gonna clip it. Since we have a vinyl, we don't want to make a holes with pins. We're gonna sew them both together, and once we're done with that, we're gonna top stitch, flip it over. We'll try to keep it together. You flip it over and top stitch. Okay, so I sewed it together. They're both together. Now what are we gonna do? We're gonna open it, try to squish it. It's vinyl, so it's kind of hard to keep it down, but if you keep pushing it a little bit, or we can use, like I have the very thin double side tape, so I'm gonna use this for the vinyl. I just put it very close to the seam, so this way it won't be in the way when I'm top stitching it, and needle doesn't go on it. Otherwise it's very sticky and the machine doesn't sew properly. So okay, I put the small double side tape and I squish it together, or open the seam like this. And now I'm gonna top stitch. Actually, I'm gonna top stitch according to directions. It says 2 rows, but it seems like only one. I mean 2 rows and one side, but I think I'm gonna do 1 row on each side, and I'm gonna do the same thing here. Okay, so I top stitched both sides from the seam. One I used white thread, and the other one in the vinyl I used blue thread. So what are we gonna do now? We're gonna install a magnetic snap. We're gonna use the regular one. Before I had a different one, but I switched this. This is easier to install the other one than the other one. Okay, to install the magnets, we have to fold the lining piece in half, kind of push it just the top to find the middle, and then we'll take the ruler and measure 1.5 inches from the top edge, right in the middle in the fold. Make a mark, and we are going to actually reinforce a little bit more the part where the magnet is going to be. So I cut up small, like 2 by 2 inches by 2 inches, small square of interfacing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press it right where the dot is right now, where the magnet is going to be. Just be careful, because I have a vinyl. You have to be very careful not to touch the vinyl, or you can press it over some kind of cloth. Okay, I kind of iron this on. Just when you press it, when you ironing the end facing, when you're putting on the interfacing for the magnet, just be careful. Just kind of glide very slowly, briefly actually, over the vinyl, because it's gonna kind of lose the shape if you're gonna keep the heat on it for long. Okay, so we did it. So now we're gonna take the washer, and where see the dot, we're gonna put the dot right in the middle, if I find it, right here, and we'll mark those 2 sides where we're gonna make a holes. Just very careful, don't rip, and take the seam ripper and just be very careful, make a small holes so that little feet can go through it. Very careful not to make a big hole, otherwise you would have to do it over again. Okay. It doesn't seem like the holes are too, it seems like the holes are too small. Just be careful. Okay, so we're gonna insert it from this side, of course. Find the holes, flip it over, put those washers on, and spread it like kind of open, and just squish it with your hands, and ta-da, one side is done. So we're gonna do both sides now. Okay, so both sides are done. What are we gonna do? We're gonna flip this over. Actually, we can put the magnet together to make sure all is fits perfectly together. Just rotate it, and we have to sew those 2 sides, and then we are going to measure. We are going to measure 2 inches by 2 inches square on the bottom, the same way what we did from the outside fabric. Both sides. So now, like I said, we're gonna sew these 2 sides up to the square, and we are gonna sew inside, but we are going to leave outside opening So this way we can flip it over. It's probably like 7 inches, 6-7 inches, 18 centimeters right in the middle. So now it's prepared. What we have to do, we're just gonna open the seam on both sides. Anyway, we are going to make the corner, box corners. So we're gonna open it like this. Make sure the seams are aligned. Okay, clip it. Same thing on the other side. So we're gonna sew this at 1 centimeter seam allowance, which is, I believe, 3/8, both sides. Okay, so I stitched those corners. I kind of made 2 lines just to kind of reinforce it a little bit. So we're gonna open it and we can flip it over and see how did we do. Pull those corners out. Maybe I could open these sides a little more. You can actually use a sleeve, a board for ironing, and press this a little bit, and just be careful with the vinyl again. Yeah, that would be great. And I think we did pretty good. Now we have to wait until I receive those strap anchors to finish the outside. Okay, so we'll wait. Okay, so I finally got those long john strap anchors, and we are going to attach it. According to the directions, says that we have to find the middle, well, which is easy with us because we already have the seam. We have to attach this piece of paper, which comes with directions. You're just gonna print it out, and it says right here, line up with the edge of the bag, front and top. And you know what, I'm gonna actually fold this so we can see this better. You're gonna fold it and line the top, and we're gonna clip it on. Actually, before we do that, we have to make the holes. Here are the markings where those straps, the anchor is gonna go on, but we first have to make a holes in the templates. So let's make a holes first. I am also going to cut out the frame so it will be easier to see where everything is. Okay, so as I said, I cut out the holes, punch out the holes. You can use a pen, a screwdriver, or whatever you like, or the hole puncher, which I used. So you have to line up the top, it actually says on the paper, with the top of the bag, find the middle, and clip it on. So we can mark those holes. Now we take a pen or marker or whatever you like. Use this ball pen to mark it. Will be better. Okay. So we'll mark it and remove the template and see what those markings are. Now we have to follow the directions. Okay, before actually we work on the main body, we have to connect those straps, the anchors, the long john anchors to actually straps. What we're gonna do, we're gonna measure about 1¼ inch. It's about 3 centimeters from each side toward on both straps. make a mark, and then we're gonna flip it over, and we are going to mark about 1/2 inch right in the middle, from one side to the middle. It's so the strap is 1 inch, which is about 2.5 centimeters. So we're going to divide it in half. So we'll find the middle, and then from the middle we'll measure another 1/2 inch, which is about 1¼ centimeters, and make a mark. That's where we're going to put the rivet. If you're not going to use a rivet, you can actually attach these marks are for the long john, the anchors. Actually put them right on the top of it. Then we're gonna bend this over and we're gonna clip it on, and there's the mark for the rivet. If you're not using a rivet, you can actually draw according to directions. You can actually sew a square or whatever you like, a cross, to attach those anchors in. So, but we're gonna put the rivets in. So that's what we're gonna do. So make each side the same thing like we just did before. Measure 1/2 inch, 1¼ centimeters, and make the mark. That's where we're gonna put the rivets. Okay. Okay, so I marked all the markings on the straps. I also marked the holes. I actually made one of those here, but what I want to show you first, we're gonna make all the holes. See the markings right here. I am using this kind of it's from Cam Snaps. It's hole puncher, it's slash rivets put together snaps. You can just change certain parts and just do whatever you need to do. So for now, I'm gonna make a holes. So I'm gonna put it in, and I don't think you can see it, but I'm just gonna make a squish it in and make a hole. You can see the hole right here, and we can put the snap. We're gonna put the longer part from the right side, and there's a smaller part which we're gonna just push it on and later squish it. We'll have to change the part. So it looks like this. Once I'm done, I'm gonna show you all. Or you can actually punch the hole with this hole puncher, which I'm not using because I am using a vinyl and it's kind of thick. You can still put it on, but it's for me it's easier to use this hole puncher. Okay, so I punched the holes, I put the rivets in. I didn't squish them. I just want to show you. You're just gonna change this part and the top part, unscrew. The top is screwed, the bottom is not screwed, and we're gonna change for these metal parts. This one just goes in, slides in, and this one we screwed on. And now we're gonna take this prepared part, the strap, put it in. I don't think you can see it. Put it in and just squish this inside. Make sure to attach properly. These are actually 9 millimeters by 7 millimeters rivets. So we're gonna unplug it, and that's it. And we can do the rest of it the same way. Okay, so handles are done and we are going to attach them. I just want to show you, I already attached one side. Just gonna flip this over. That's how it's gonna look like. So, and from the front, and this is from the inside. So we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. First, we have to use the template. We're gonna line it up with the middle, which we can see right here. You can clip it in, so you want to make sure it's all same, it's not moving. All right, so we have the holes here, so we're gonna make marks. 3 here, 3 here, And same thing on the other side. Okay, I'm gonna remove it. So marks are there. I don't know if you can see it because this vinyl is hard to see it, but it's there. I'm gonna flip it over and do same thing on that side. Not you need it too much, but we have to actually reinforce those nails a little bit. So we're gonna glue these things on, so we actually know approximately where we're gonna put them on. So we're gonna clip this on again, and we'll make those marks again. So actually, you don't have to do all 6 of them, just make like the middle ones, so this way you know where you're gonna put. This is the Pellon interfacing. It's thick one. It's the one we used on the bottom. So I have this glue here, 505. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna spray it on a little bit, actually, and put it approximately where those holes are gonna be. And same thing with the other one. So when we make holes, we make the holes in those 2 at the same time. Okay, so it's glued on, and we're gonna flip it over, and we are going to make holes in those markings. Okay, so I made those holes. Now we're gonna flip it over. They're not really straight, but it's gonna fit in. Oh my god. Okay, so we're gonna put these reinforcers actually on it, and these 2. Okay, we have those little screws. You're gonna put them right in the middle holes, and this one in the middle too. And we're gonna do this one first. Actually, gonna put this one on the side. Gonna flip it over slowly, and we're gonna make sure we have it right size. Okay, you can see there is a hole only in the middle, only middle of those 3. So that's why we have only 2 screws. I'm gonna flip it over, and we'll try to fit it. You have to kind of hold it and find it, the fitting inside. Find the hole and screw it on. All right, one, and then the other one. Put it in. Do not fully tight it on. It's gonna be too tight, so you cannot move it. So kind of hard to find the hole there if you don't see it properly. Okay. So we're gonna attach the other one, and we do the same way. Okay, so I attached both sides. This side and this side is also done. Just to make sure it's all secure, I'm gonna put a glue on it. I don't think the direction says that, but I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the screws so they do not unscrew, so it stays on it. So I'm using this E6000 glue, and I'm gonna put right around those screws so they stay in a place, because they're kind of short, a little bit short, and I was afraid they might unscrew or something, because I was using vinyl and the foam. So put the glue on it and leave it on the best like 24 hours. It should settle. It might take like 72 hours fully settle, so it's up to you. Okay, so glue, it seems to be dry. So what are we gonna do next? We flip it over. We are going to connect the sides and sew them together, both sides. Okay, so I've sewn both sides together. Now what are we gonna do? We are going to, even though it's vinyl, we are going to press this open so we can sew and make a box corner. both sides. Okay, so I made the box corners, both sides. If you see, if it seems like to you have a extra fabric here, you can always cut it a little bit out. So what we're gonna do next, we're gonna leave it the right side from the outer fabric, right side in, or the inside out, and the lining right side out. We're gonna insert the lining inside the bag. We're gonna use the clips. Well, because I'm using a vinyl, I'm gonna use the clips. If you're using a fabric, you can always use pins or whatever you have on hand. Make sure you're lining up those seams and sew it with 1/4 inch allowance all around. Just make sure you put those handles in on both sides, so we're not gonna sew them the wrong way. Okay, so I stitched it together all around. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna flip it over through the hole we left in lining. It's gonna be a little process. I should have left a little bigger hole, but we can do it. So work on it. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, push those corners out. Now, what are we gonna do? We're gonna push this inside, so we don't have to switch a color, which I used white here. So we're gonna top stitch. We're gonna top stitch all around. I'm gonna use these clips all around. If you're using a fabric, regular fabric, you can actually press it. Even with the vinyl, you can press it. Just be careful over the cloth, not with high temperature. It might help a little bit. If not, just push it all separate. Put some clips on. Okay, so I top stitched. I did 3.5 top stitch, but you could have actually used 4. But I think it's fine. One last thing what we have to sew is the inside lining, the hole. I made it a little bit bigger. It was easier to flip it over. So now the last thing, actually last thing for us, because I decided, according to the directions, we were supposed to use snaps and make this kind of shape. So the snaps were supposed to be in the corners, but I decided not to do it because it's vinyl and it's kind of thick. I kind of like this shape, okay, but if you're using regular fabric, cotton or thinner fabric, you can actually do the snaps on the corners. So what I'm gonna finish it up. I'm gonna put these together and gonna stitch it together. Okay, so I stitched the lining together. We're gonna push it inside, clip it, and voila. And one last thing, we have to take these plastic protectors off, so it's beautiful and shiny and clean. Let me see the other side. All right, and there it is. Inside. Love it. See you next time. Bye.